Hello, I'm Oral, and welcome to Oral Keeps Live. My guest on the program, Valley. He's not a stranger, but I haven't had him on the program for quite a while. Mr. Simmerin Marlin, how you doing, sir?
Good, Oral. I'm good.
It's good to have you in the program, man.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for having me on your program. Thank you.
It's good to see you. We go back a long time. You've been on the
Yes.
program many times.
Yes. Well, I believe it was one time I was on the program.
No, more than one. More than one.
You are right. More than once.
More than
You are
one.
right.
Yeah,
You're
the two or
right.
three times the program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are right.
Remember talking drums?
Yes.
We spoke with you about that,
Correct.
and you was on the other program where there was some police brutality.
Yes.
So we had a
Yes. Absolutely. And
yeah.
Oral, thank you so much for having me those times on the program. And thank you so much for having featured me. And thank you so much. And I commend you for the program that you have been doing for so many years. We in the community, we appreciate you. We appreciate the program that you have done for so long, so consistent, and so qualitative. We thank you. We thank your family, Oral. And we want to see you continue the good work. And we know you're going to continue the good work.
Well, thanks. And before we started, I had to apologize so often to you because we had some technical issues. It took me
Yes,
a
we
half
have.
hour to get it fixed.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
People see a program, sometimes they do not know all what goes into it from behind the
oh
scenes.
yeah, and computers are good and computers are bad. They can give you a headache sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So things are okay with you these days, Mr. Marlin?
Meeting a lot of challenges,
Yeah.
but I am up to the challenges. And just now you mentioned that program that you had done pertaining to when I was brutalized by the police.
Mm.
And I thank you so much for that program, Oral, because that is a topic that people in general did not want to touch and still do not want to touch when it comes to police brutality. But you really, really presented it, and a lot of people did not know about me, and it was that program that you did, Oral, that put me, Cimarron, on the map. And after you had me do that program in the studio with you, it for months and months and months after that, people were stopping me, um, talking with me because of that program. So because of that program, it allowed people to know what I went through in the community where that is concerned.
I also had in the program where you spoke about your brother, and then we also said that after a while that we won't discuss that anymore because I believe in family and so forth. But how are you and your brother today, Julian Rolex? Are you all made up and speaking?
Well, what is um, it is two very, very different worlds. And he is in that world that he is in, and I am in my world. We had met um, once or twice after, not often. He's very, very busy.
Yeah.
He does a lot of traveling, So in that capacity, I was not able to meet it with him in a while.
Okay. But it's quite interesting the thing you've been doing, talking drums.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Because we haven't heard much about it, and I drove by your place there on the border,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still closed down.
Yeah, it's a lot has been happening that
Mm.
is happening, but not where the visible eye can easily see. And one of the things at the border, Oro, people there are those that did not expect me to reach that far in terms of what I wanted to achieve for the border. And a lot of people wish me well with what I am doing in terms of cultural activities in the community. But there are also those that, instead of working with you, they sometimes would want to work against you. And the more I do at the border in terms of cleaning up, giving classes to the community, especially the youngsters, the more I do that, keeping the place clean and providing classes, and sharing with them about the culture and history of St. Martin, the more I do that, the more opposition I'm getting in terms of breaking in, vandalizing the place. So that is an issue, because in the past I did have security there, and at present there is no security. And because there's no security, people take advantage of the situation with a repeated breaking in and vandalizing the place. So I try to do my best to restore it every time they break in.
But I realized that when I drove by there, I think it was yesterday, I was going to French Quarter. I noticed that now they have placed barriers now to the entrance, so a car can't even drive in there anymore or turn around there. I don't know if you
Yeah.
noticed that.
Yeah. One of the things, when there were no barriers there, people would drive in with their cars, and sometimes they would litter and cause a lot of mess
So
there.
you put the barriers in it.
No, I didn't put the barriers there, but one of the things that was utilized to create those barriers was huge blocks and huge boulders that was on the premises,
Yeah.
that was taken off of the premises and put barrier there. But when I'm ready for the next phase in terms of bringing back that commercial aspect to the place, when I am ready for that stage, because so far I just want to have some activities there that are non-commercial. But when we are ready for the commercial, then those barriers are going to be removed,
Okay.
where cars can drive through.
I know we're going to speak about a lot of things, and
Yes.
later on we're going to speak about your good friend Dr. Anders Leopold James. But
Yes.
before we go over to that, is there anything that you think you need to share with me and our audience that we don't know about? Because you've gone through so much, man.
Yeah. Well, one of the things for sure, what I'm doing with this foundation, the Talking Drums, it is going to continue, and it is continuing, because there was a lot of opposition that it does not continue, simply because you have very limited means, and because of that, people feel sometimes, they feel that, well, it shouldn't be you. But I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing in the community, bringing cultural programs and things like that.
They're evil people and they're good people. And sometimes it looks like the evildoers are succeeding. I can tell you because even from my own experience, it took me 20 plus years before I could get a broadcasting license when I was the most qualified person to get one. So in St. Martin, those forces were always there at work. I remember the first time I heard you was on a radio program speaking about talking drums. And this about 15 years ago, or maybe more. When did
Maybe
you start
more.
the foundation? How
Maybe
long
more.
ago?
The foundation was registered in 1998.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, and how did you came up with that idea? Talking drums.
Talking drums. in our culture, in our culture, we are a part of the African culture, and the African culture is a part of us. There are many components to our culture. Many of us are descendants from Africa, and that name, the talking drums. In the African culture, there are many drums, and one of the drums, it is called the talking drums.
Right. I remember you saying that on the interview too. About
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
um, but let me ask you this,
Mhm.
because I was speaking to someone. They were saying that you're a very, very smart guy.
Okay. You also are a very, very smart guy, Aura.
Well, I'm not smart. My children are smart, not me.
Okay. You're smart. Maybe they might be a bit smarter than you. Maybe. You
I
know.
I said jokingly because a lot of people think all of us who in millions and on radio and television that we are dummies. I always say I'm not, but anyway. The thing is, I was told that your foundation is set up really good,
Okay.
and the property that you have in Longlease on the border was done really good.
Okay.
So
Thank
those
you.
evildoers are having a difficult time getting at you. Is that true?
Yes. Yes. They're having a hard time getting at me, and the way they want to get at
Yeah.
me, but there should be no reason that they should be wanting to get at me. It should be where they should be working and towards helping me in terms of bringing more programs to the community and making it a better community.
And we need that now.
Yes,
that
we
now.
need it. We need it.
And
Yes.
for people who don't know, you're right there on the border, French-Dutch border at Belvedere, right?
Yes. Yes. And because we're right there at the border, we don't see borders. What we see is one island. And it is about one island. And, we have to work towards coming more and more together, working with each other to make it a better island.
Well, I feel the same way, but unfortunately, that those who are working against what you just said.
Mhm.
So people could look out still for you in the future.
For sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what else are you doing these days, Mr. Marlin?
Well, one of the things is, first of all, we have done activities at the border. The activities we're going to continue doing at the border. Yet the Talking Drums Foundation, it is an outreach program. We are seeing activity that was at the border, but it is not limited to the border. I go into the communities and I speak with people, I communicate with people, I interact with people. One of those communities where I'm at is, for an example, I'm over at Fry's Bay. Over at Fry's Bay, a person that resides at Fry's Bay is Dr. Leopold James. Dr. Leopold James, he's a former teacher. When he used to teach at Milton Peters College, I was taught by Dr. Leopold James at Milton Peters College. I was among the first class that he taught at Milton Peters College in 1981. So I spent a lot of time at his residence, a lot of time. We talk a lot, we communicate, we are working on having activities at his residence.
It was quite interesting because
Mhm.
he was my guest in the program recently,
Mhm.
and he had nothing but praise for you.
Yeah, and I have nothing but praise for him as well.
Uh,
It's a lot of praise I have for him. Spending time at his residence, at his home, I have come to know him even better.
what do you think people don't know about him that they should know? Because I've had him many times in the program. We've always had a combative relationship back and forth, but we all respected each other.
Mhm.
He came here, people loved him.
Mhm.
I was surprised at the amount of people told me that they enjoyed the interview with him. But what do you think that people should know that they don't know about him?
Um, the part that they see of Leopold is usually when he is on air, and when he is on they might hear him on a radio program or see him on a television program, and on those programs he have talked a lot of time on nation building, you know, his activities on helping to build the St. Martin nation. And that is the part they see, hear, and know about Leopold. And that is the part that he is so much, has been and is so much committed to and dedicated to. Now, some of the other aspects they might not know of him, for an example, they might not know him in terms of seeing Leopold doing his laundry, washing the dishes, sitting in the garden, sitting in his garden where he and I are talking, communicating with each other, sitting on his porch, communicating with me, with others that pass by. Those are the things they might not see and they might not know, but those are the things he's engaged in. Things that they might not see and know of him is that he has a lot of challenges with his vision, with seeing. He has had that problem, that challenge for a long, long time, and his vision is, his physical vision is deteriorating. However, the more his physical vision deteriorates, it seems as if his spiritual vision is getting stronger and stronger.
Hold that thought. I'm spoiled. I gotta tell you this. A lady stopped me the other day after I did the interview with him, and she says to me, Oral, I see you had Mr. James on the program. It's very, very good. She said she enjoyed it. She said, but I also see him on Facebook. And she said to me, if he can't see, how come he's on Facebook? So maybe you there with him, explain that, because she asked me that question. I couldn't give an answer.
Yeah. When he writes something and put it on Facebook, people wouldn't see in general, they wouldn't be able to see, but I do. I see it many times I'm there. What it cost him. He puts a lot of effort in terms of having to type it in, and sometimes you type one letter and then a different letter is typed. So then he have to go over it, he have to try and check that the words are correct. So in short, it is a lot of effort and a lot of sacrifice he put in terms of getting a message out there. It takes a lot out of him because his vision, his physical vision, it is very poor. He have a lot of difficulty seeing. So he barely can see. So with a very limited vision he has, that is what he's able to get a message out there with. Because it might come a time, maybe relatively soon, that he might not be able to put anything out there in terms of typing.
Okay. You mentioned garden. Does he grow vegetables, fruits in the garden?
Not as yet. That is coming, but it is still a garden. It's still a garden where the space has been made, you know, where he and I, we sit in what we call the garden, and people visit us and everything, and they have a good time. We have a good time.
You can meditate there too. It's real nice.
Yes, we meditate there. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I saw him when he came to the studio, and I was impressed. Even my wife, because here's a gentleman, 80 years old, he still walks strong. Okay, he doesn't walk like some 50-something-year-old. They have some people in their 40s and 50s. They hardly walk.
That is true.
But Mr. Leopold James came here and he came up the steps and
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
really, really good. And he looks
Mhm.
good. I mean,
Absolutely.
the man have no wrinkles in his face.
Hmm.
What you
And
guys eat, man?
um, we eat regular food like regular people, but as he said, as Leopold said on your program,
Uh,
he is a person that is at peace with himself, and he is a person that is um, more and more he is looking at the spiritual side of life.
but you know, I noticed when I asked you what you guys eat, it like threw
Hmm.
you off. You didn't expect that
Oh
kind
no, well we eat, our regular St. Martin food. We eat rice, we eat peas, we eat chicken, we eat Johnny cake. We drink tea in the evening. We make lime juice and things like that. The regular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what's his favorite meal?
Wow, that's
Actually,
a good one. That is a good one. He likes he likes the soup. Which soup? Pigtail soup.
I knew
He
you were gonna
likes the
say.
pigtail soup.
I was expecting that.
We like the pigtail soup.
There's nothing like pigtail soup.
There's nothing like a pigtail soup. Yes, sir.
So does he go walking or anything like that, or he just stay at
Yeah.
home?
Um, Especially in the past, we used to take regular walks around the neighborhood. In the
Oh, okay.
neighborhood, we used to take regular walks. We don't do the walks as much, but there is more programs he's working on, because as he mentioned to me many times, his eyesight, it's becoming a little bit dimmer and dimmer, but his mental capacity is coming sharper and sharper.
Man, he's sharp. He is sharp.
Becoming
Yeah,
sharper and
yeah,
sharper. So his mind is sharp. His mind is
yeah.
very, very sharp.
That's amazing. You know, I've always had him on my show,
Hmm.
and there was a lot of people who liked him, but there was a lot of people who didn't like him, see him on the show either. I always found that so strange. Here's a man fighting for St. Martin,
Yeah.
and then you had all these groups of people who still didn't want to see or hear anything from him. That I found that amazing.
Well, for the people who might feel that they don't like him, are people that have never listened to his message
But I don't even know him.
and don't even know him. So those are the few, because there are many, many, many people that like him and admire him a lot for the person that he is.
I know, and I got in the last interview, but you know, I've had him many times, and I'll tell you,
Yes.
I've had even sponsors who didn't want to see him. They said, no, 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 I bring who I want. You don't like it, you can go the other way. So I think, but the 80s and the 90s were a very turbulent time in St. Martin.
Yes.
We don't have that today in terms of radical thinking, you know. We don't have those young revolutionaries anymore. It's all politics and greed, but no one there to really stand and say, look, this is how it is,
Yeah.
this is how it should be. Leopold James was there. I was there.
Yes.
You know, your brother was there. A number of us were
Absolutely.
there.
Yeah.
I don't see that today, and I told that to him when he was here. In the
Yes, you
program.
told him. You shared that with him.
Yeah.
And it shows how special a person like you are, Oral, how special Leopold James are, and how special the people are that do the kind of work that you and Leopold do. You all raise those issues. You all raise issues that are not popular issues. You all raise issues that are hard issues that needs to be addressed, and there are not many people willing to do that.
Let me tell you, Mr. Marlin, I don't think there's a other guest in the thousands of interviews I've done on television and radio who knew that when they walked through the door, it wasn't going to be easy. And Mr. Leopold Jim, he knew coming on
Mhm.
my show wasn't going to be easy. He
Mhm.
knew I was going to be tough and asking questions, but
Yeah.
fair.
Mhm.
But he still came every time.
Absolutely. He came because you were open to having him on the program, and you made it a point to invite him, whereas there was and there is many programs that were afraid, were terrified to have him on the program.
Terrified.
Terrified. They were terrified.
Uh,
And they still are terrified, many of them, to have him on a program. And that oral, it says a lot about your courage. You are a very courageous person. You are a very principled person. You are a very honest and fair person. You want to see people have, to be able to have a say, to have a say, and you are a voice for the people, Oral.
thank you. But going back to the years when I started,
Mm-hmm.
I used to have two other guys, they
Mm-hmm.
were Rasta men.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back in the 80s, a Rasta man was despised in
Yes,
St.
yes.
Martin. And I
Mhm.
used to bring them on my show.
Yes.
And people didn't like it. So,
Mhm.
and I said, oh, no, my show's for everybody. Anybody wants to come, you can come on the show.
Absolutely.
But I think with Mr. Leopold James, what made it so unique is that there was a time when I did a short series
Mhm.
called Face Off.
Mm-hmm.
I think I only got maybe 2 programs because nobody wants to face off. Only Leopold James wanted to face off.
Yeah.
Everybody else is
Uh-huh.
running. You see, so the
Mhm.
thing is, in St. Martin, we
Mhm.
don't want to disagree with each other
Mhm.
and be friends. Because if I disagree with you,
Absolutely.
I'm angry with you and you're not my friend. So it was so difficult to get 2 people to sit on television face to face
Mhm.
and with opposing views.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
very difficult in St. Martin.
And that was another tremendous contribution that you made to the community in terms of a program, because up until that point, a program with facing off like that, it was never done.
Yeah.
It would never done. It shows that how you do your program, you are a professional and you handle your programs professional. You don't take it personal. Even though Leopold might not have always agreed with you, you might not have always agreed with Leopold, but you all always respected each other. And you always, you would provide a platform to where people can get a message out, whether people agree with them or not.
And what's amazing is that how intelligent. A lot of people don't realize that people hear him. He's a radical thinker, I think a revolutionary thinker, but at the same time, a very, very highly intelligent person.
Mhm.
And sometimes you have to literally listen between the lines to hear it.
Mhm.
Because here you have this gentleman, and I said it to him the last time he was here. Who else came out with nation building before him?
No one that I could think of.
You see?
No one.
So, and he was ahead of his time.
He was ahead of his time and still is ahead of his time.
And you know what I think now? I wish he had came up with nation building 15 years earlier.
He would have been more ahead of his time if he had come out with it even earlier.
I mean, the resistance would have been higher too.
Yeah, the resistance would have been even more stiffer, stronger. And the resistance is even strong today. Even strong today.
Yeah.
It's so strong to the point that they have not really mentioned the issues that he talked about. Those issues that he talked about are still very relevant and they still are not being dealt with.
More relevant today, actually.
Yeah, more relevant today, more relevant than they ever was in the past.
Yeah. Well, it's quite interesting because, hey, this just an amazing gentleman. I tell you what, we're here to speak with Mr. Simran Marlin. Mr. Marlin has been in the program a few times. He's here speaking about himself and also with Dr. Anders Leopold James, who is and a lot more. So when I come back here, we're going to speak, in case you've just joined us, this is Oral Gibbs Live. And we're on Hot 99.9 FM radio, Facebook, and YouTube. My guest is Mr. Simran Marlin. We'll be right back after his words. Please stay with us.
Hey, don't guess about your insurance. Be sure that you're covered. Like with your car, like your home. Be sure to be covered in case of a fire, flood, hurricane, or some other natural disaster. And travel insurance, because you never know what could happen when you're on vacation. You could lose your passport, your luggage, or have an accident. So be sure that you're covered.
Insure yourself fast and easy with Be Sure from the Windward Islands Bank Limited. Visit your preferred WIB branch, WIB Insurance Services, or BeSureSt.Martin.com. Get your Be Sure insurance at the Windward Islands Bank, your partners in progress.
For real? Somebody came in here and steal my curtains? Well, it's a good thing I'm insured with Be Sure, because even the contents of my apartment are covered. Don't play guessing games with your insurance. Be sure.
Are you be sure to be?
My guest on Oral Gibbs Live is Simran Marlin. Mr. Marlin has been here many times before, and he didn't even remember the first time in this studio here.
Absolutely.
But,
yes,
other
that's how
studio
long it was.
Yeah, it's called the first location. I was there for 32 years.
32 years.
32 years.
Wow.
A long time. Huh?
Yeah, it's
So,
an achievement.
And
Yes.
I kind of still miss it, Like I come over here, there's more traffic. We're in the center of Simpson Bay and everything
Mention to the
else.
people where it was. Mention to and Madam Estate, right?
Madam Estate,
Yeah,
behind
yes.
God's back, right?
Madam Estate.
Yes, well, it was nice. I liked it because I could hang out outside. I would stand up and wait for the guests, and no cars would pass because I was inside the shopping center. Now we're right okay in the main road. So
Yeah. How you like having your studio in Simpson Bay now?
I don't know. It's kind of like when you spend 32 plus years in a location,
Yes.
it's like hard to move. But at that time, we were there because of cable TV, and we did all the live shows with a direct line to cable TV. Here now is the internet, but that's been a terrible issue for us in terms of getting the sustained speed to really do a live show in high definition. That's been a problem for us. But I like it. It's great.
How do you see the future of what you do, seeing that over 30 years ago when you were doing your program, so much have changed in terms of the technology?
Well, boy, I'll tell you something, Mr. Marlin. The technology is good and bad. Why is it good and bad? Before you had a camera, a studio camera that cost you sometime $22,000. Today, the technology made these cameras smaller, they're digital, they're high definition, and the cost is going down. This is good. Computers are taking over. Everything now is computerized. I have got 2 computers in front of me. It makes it a lot easier. But I think for people, younger people, it's good to understand the old technology and the new one, analog and digital. And that's where I see a problem. Because now people are doing shows, but they don't have a real understanding of the camera, how it works, etc. Now we have one machine that covers everything. In those days, we had to buy a scope that was separate, a time-based corrector that was separate. All these different instruments separate. Today, now everything is on one laptop. So
Wow.
that's a real beauty of it, really.
Would you have a suggestion for the schools or maybe for the university in terms of a media department to teaching?
Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't, because I'll tell you something. My suggestion, people in St. Martin wouldn't make much sense. I say that because with all the things I've been doing, I've never been invited to speak about it,
Wow.
except once when I was invited at the St. Martin Academy when Mrs. Lawrence was the principal there.
Okay.
And it was for Black History Month, and I spoke about a specific issue, and I was surprised that the students at the time didn't even know about this particular person when I spoke at the school. But that's about the only thing. But my concern is that we have a young generation that they're very computer savvy, but at the same time, they're like out of touch with St. Martin. And I don't know if it's that because of the internet and Facebook and Instagram and all the different things. And now you have WhatsApp. We have WhatsApp reporters. Everybody's a reporter on WhatsApp, man. So they don't need us anymore.
Wow. Well, you will always be needed. Your professionality. You help to take it to the next level, Oro.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just quite interesting. But I think, what you and Mr. Leopold James have been doing is good too. And I think the grassroots need to know that because that's important.
Yeah.
I know he used to live on Dutch side. Now he's living on the French side. Yeah.
And I spend a lot of time on the French side.
Yeah.
My base is still, I'm registered here on the Dutch side,
Yeah.
but a lot of time is spent on the French side. A lot.
So I heard something,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "Let me ask you if it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true, Mr. Marlin, that you're going to be running for political office?"
No, it's not true. I'm not going to be running for political office, and I do not know what the future holds, but I do not see myself running for political office, at least not anytime soon.
Why they making up that thing saying, boy, Simmons going to be running for parliament?
No, that happens not to be the case. But for those that are running, I would encourage them. I commend them because someone has to do it, and it is something that needs to be done. We need the parliamentarians, and we need the people there, and we need the people that take our island seriously and to handle the issues that has to be handled seriously.
Well, you come from a political family, and most of your cousins and everything are politicians.
Yeah,
You never
yes.
urge for you to jump into the...
I would encourage them, and maybe I would maybe like to support in whatever way I can. But I would like to
Your
continue
nephew's
doing what
running.
I'm doing in terms of culture
Oh, okay.
area and those
You
areas.
got a nephew running to also.
Yeah, I commend them because it is not an easy job, and it is not going to be easy. A word of advice that I will share with them and anyone else in that arena is to stay away from the corruption. There is much being said about the corruption, and it is giving our country a bad name, a very, very, very bad name. So that would be my word of advice, is to stay away from corruption, to stay far away from corruption.
But what do you make you think that politicians today have become so corrupt? Why do you think that's the reason?
We for the most part, we have lost sight of our value system. We have always had a value system, to be honest and to do the right thing and to do not take what don't belongs to you, and to be fair, to be honest, to be upright and just. We have lost that focus from those things. We have become very selfish, very impatient, very greedy, and just thinking about self and not considering others.
Your friend, Dr. Ernest Leopold James, said he was never interested in the materialism part of everything.
And I can refer to myself as where we live together, and I could bear witness that is true. I've never seen him put any importance or focus on the material aspect of things. I've seen him a person that is very concerned with people, very concerned for people, very interested in people and interested in this country and concerned for this country. I've never seen him put any emphasis on the material aspect of things.
I have to quote him. He said, "I was never carried away by materialism."
No,
By
I've
the
never
money.
seen him being carried away, not in the least, by materialistic things.
But I guess when a person like him look around and he sees some of his friends who have attained wealth and so forth,
Mhm.
how he feels.
It doesn't bother him. As far as he's concerned, he's very, very happy for him. But that has never been a focus for him.
Okay.
A focus for him, I have seen, is for the welfare, the well-being of St. Martin and St. Martin people.
What about his family? How
His family, he's very, very caring, concerned for his family and with his family. He keeps a close contact with his children, his grandchildren. When when he speaks with me, many times in his conversation, his wife that is now passed, she comes up in the conversation. You know, he is in touch with his other brothers and sisters. Yeah, he's a family man. He is a family man.
and you have grandchildren as a mother?
He has a grandchild here in St. Martin. He has other grandchildren that lives abroad. Yes.
It's nice. I see people interact with their grandchildren, and it's amazing.
Yeah. You possibly might be having grandchildren maybe relatively soon. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not even gonna answer that one.
Yeah. It's possible. Soon.
We
Yeah.
all hope and wish someday, right? Yeah.
Someday.
So, what else you been doing with yourself, man?
Well, making preparations to where we're going to be having activities, cultural and social activities at the border
Coming up
relatively soon.
before the end of the year, you think?
Yeah, for sure before the end of the year.
Mm.
Yeah, way before the end of the year. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That'd be nice because
Mhm.
we need, where you have that location right
Mhm.
on the border,
Hmm.
there's a huge housing project there on
Mhm.
Belvedere.
Yes.
There's a lot of children living there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think will be ideal for the foundation. You ever try
Absolutely.
getting funding and so forth to help you through and so forth?
Um, I just utilize whatever limited funds that I have. But my focus is not so much in terms of funds that you could get from the different funding foundations right now. That takes a lot of time, a lot of administration. So possibly in the future, but for right now, I just use whatever limited resources I have
Yeah.
to put it in motion and to keep it into motion, the border.
All right.
Mhm.
It's always good speaking with you, seeing that Dr. Ernest Leopold James came here and he spoke very highly of you and really wanted everyone to know that, you play a
Mhm.
very important part
Yeah,
in his life.
yes. And the next time I am on your program, and I look forward to being on your program again, for sure. I would be able to share with you more of what's happening at the border, of what's taking place at Leopold's residence at Fry's Bay, because we have a few things in the works at Fry's Bay also that we are working on.
Okay, that's very, very, very good. So, Mr. Marlin, I'm going to thank you for coming in. Wish you much success.
Thank you.
And hope to see you back sometime soon, all right?
I thank you, and thank you, Oral, for having me on the program, and thank you for bringing these quality programs to the community and to the world. Thank you, Oral.
Okay, thank you and welcome, and much success again to you, all right?
I appreciate you, Oral.
So,
Thank you.
and that's it for now on Hot 99.9 FM radio, Facebook, and YouTube. This has been Oral Gibbs Live. See you next time. Take care. Bye.